You thought you were breaking down, but it was God awakening you. Welcome to the chosen bloom, chosen one. Have you ever felt something rise within you, something too deep for words, too strange to explain? It isn't pain exactly, but a weight in your chest like a presence, like something unseen is tugging at the core of your life, quietly but powerfully shifting everything. Suddenly, your world feels off balance. Not falling apart, but realigning. Your emotions are louder, your thoughts more intense, and even the silence in between seems charged with meaning. Maybe the world feels more distant now, but your spirit, sharper than ever. And somewhere, in the quiet corners of your soul where no one else looks, you've been asking yourself, what is happening to me? Is it a breakdown, a spiritual shift, a divine disruption? Or did you somehow fall out of place? Let me be clear, you are not lost. You are being found. This message wasn't a coincidence. It didn't just show up. It was sent for you. It reached you here, right at the edge of your endurance, because where you're going next can't be entered blindly. It must be entered awakened. There's a peculiar ache that comes before a sacred transformation. You grieve without loss. You feel exhaustion without cause. You begin to notice signs you can't explain, feel stirrings you can't describe, sense shifts that haven't yet reached the surface. While the world spins on, something in you, the real you, remains still, waiting, listening. But hear me, that waiting isn't punishment. It's preparation. That stillness isn't weakness. It's sacred alignment. Because only the truly chosen feel this deep pull. Your awakening comes with weight. Your purpose with pressure. And your journey, oh, it was never meant to be easy. It was meant to be holy. Let me tell you what the world never will. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not cursed. What you're living through right now is a hidden phase of sacred awakening. It won't look impressive to the world. It won't feel comfortable. And it will not match society's timeline. But it is real. You've outgrown people, outgrown places, shed beliefs, even left behind versions of yourself you once clung to. And now, that strange disorientation you feel, it's not confusion. It's expansion. Your soul is breaking free from the smaller life you once built out of fear, silence, or survival. And now, finally, you're beginning to remember, painfully, beautifully, you are remembering who you truly are beneath all the noise, all the roles, all the fear. What you're feeling right now isn't weakness. It's not confusion. It's power finally waking up after a long and silent sleep. Take a breath. Feel that? That's not just oxygen filling your lungs. That's your spirit catching up to your body. That's truth breaking through the noise. That's your real self knocking, not for performance, not for perfection, but for presence. It doesn't want the mask. It wants you whole, honest, and healing. And here's the strange paradox about this path. It gets lonelier before it becomes divine. It gets harder right before it turns holy. You begin to drift from the very things that used to define you, not because you're shutting down, but because you're tuning in. You feel energy more clearly. You dream more vividly. You begin to crave silence, cry without warning, and remember things your mind never knew but your soul always did. That is the awakening. And only those who are deeply marked, divinely protected, and purposefully chosen feel it this intensely, because what you carry is sacred. Now let me ask you something serious. You have a choice. Right here, right now. You can click away, go back to the scrolling, the noise, the distraction, and miss the very clarity your soul has been crying for. Or you can stay and receive the words your spirit already knows are true. If you do, you will walk away lighter, stronger, remembering, because what comes next will remind you why you were chosen in the first place. But before we begin, I invite you to mark this sacred moment in the comments with the number 777. Not just as a number, but as a declaration, a remembrance, a signal to the universe that you're ready. Ready to hear, ready to heal, ready to awaken on a level no one around you may understand, but your soul does. Let this be a space where your spirit is seen. Let this be the place you return to when the weight is too much. Whenever the world gets too loud or too heavy, this space is here. Come back and rest your soul. Stay with me now, because what's coming next will shift the way you see everything. You've felt it for a while, haven't you? That quiet, constant murmur deep within. A signal in your spirit that something is changing. You can't explain it, but you feel it. At first, it was just a quiet discomfort, like a hum in your chest keeping you awake at night. But then it grew louder. You began seeing patterns you never noticed before. People drifted. Conversations lost their spark. The routines that once gave your life rhythm now feel lifeless. The things that once defined you suddenly feel like someone else's reflection. And while everything around you seems the same, everything inside you has changed. That inner dissonance isn't confusion, it's confirmation. It's sacred proof that something in you is awakening. The world might label it as burnout, fatigue, or even depression. But you know the truth. This isn't about your mind being overwhelmed or your body being tired. This is a soul-level unrest. Something deeper is stretching inside you, longing for a life beyond the version you've been shown. That stretch is painful. It mimics grief. It feels like loss. But what's really happening is that the life that once fit you is now too small. You're shedding what was. You're being called into what could be. And yes, it often starts in disguise. What looks like a breakdown is really a break open. Because, chosen one, the universe doesn't need to shout when it can whisper. And the whisper is often discomfort. That restless feeling you keep trying to silence it isn't meant to be fixed. It's meant to be followed. It's not a flaw. It's a calling. It's the future knocking gently at the door of your present, asking you to make room. But only those with a deep inner knowing ever hear it. Only those chosen to carry something sacred ever feel it this strongly, because something divine is trying to enter your life. And in order to come through, it must first disturb what isn't real. This is the part of the awakening nobody prepares you for. The part where you crave depth, but are surrounded by surface. Where your laughter softens, not because you're broken, but because your soul has become more reverent. You're not tired of living. You're tired of living without meaning. You're not giving up. You're giving up pretending. Let me remind you of something your soul has always known. Your timeline was never meant to match anyone else's. Your path was never going to be polished. It was going to be precise. Because you're not being reshaped into someone new, you're being returned to someone ancient. The real you. The one who never fit inside the world's boxes. The one who saw through the noise when others called it normal. The one who could feel truth even when no one dared to speak it. That version of you is awakening now. And everything you're feeling, the strange dreams, the emotional waves, the urge to pull back from the crowd, they're not random. They're sacred signals. Carl Jung once said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." He was right. Because before you awaken, your life must disrupt. Before you find clarity, you must face chaos. Before purpose arrives, there is always a purging. You're not losing your mind. You're gaining awareness. You're becoming conscious of burdens you were never designed to carry. And every ache, every internal tremor is a layer falling away. This is not the time to silence the whisper inside you. This is the time to stop questioning your sensitivity, stop calling your intuition an overreaction, Stop making yourself wrong for what you feel. Your soul has been speaking through tension, through the questions, through the patterns you can no longer ignore. It's asking you to listen not with fear, but with reverence. Not with logic, but with trust. You are not being led by society's deadlines. You are being moved by divine intelligence. And every moment that shakes you, every emotion that overwhelms you, is proof that your life is realigning with your true essence. So, if it hurts, breathe. If you feel lost, pause. If you feel stretched, lean in. This isn't your ending. This is the whisper before the roar. The birth pangs before something sacred breaks through. The cracking open before the light floods in. Don't run from this fire. Let it burn away what isn't you. Let it strip off what was never meant to stay. Let it summon the version of you that was always waiting beneath the noise. Because the most powerful awakenings begin in silence, and this silence is holy. Take one breath, and now look back not with regret, but with reverence. Do you remember the earliest days when you felt different? Not louder, not more important, just different. As a child, you felt things more deeply than those around you. You sensed the energy in a room before a single word was spoken. You could tell when someone's smile was hiding sadness. You knew when love was present and when it wasn't long before you understood how to name what you were feeling. So you stayed quiet. You carried the weight alone. And because the world couldn't understand what you felt, it told you something must be wrong with you. You were labeled too sensitive, too emotional, too intense. But what no one saw was that you were born with spiritual sight, not the kind that sees with the eyes, but the kind that feels with the soul. You tried to quiet it. You tried to blend in. You wore masks to make others feel comfortable. You laughed when you wanted to cry. You said yes to things that betrayed your spirit. And little by little, you became a stranger to yourself, not because you were weak, but because you were trying to survive in a world that wasn't built for your sensitivity. Chosen one, you were never meant to numb yourself just to be accepted. You were meant to be whole. The world tends to celebrate the loud and the logical. But your power? It's always been in your softness, in your ability to feel what others avoid, in your strength to carry pain without breaking, in your knowing before proof, before logic, before anyone else could see it. That knowing has always been inside you, and each time you tried to silence it, something dimmed. So let me remind you, sensitivity is not weakness. It's precision. It's a form of spiritual intelligence. Your nervous system is finely tuned to frequencies others can't hear. That's why crowds drain you. That's why noise overwhelms you. That's why chaos disrupts your peace faster than most. You were never meant for shallow waters. You were wired for depth. You were designed to sense shifts in the unseen. And that sensitivity, it's not something you outgrow. It's something you're meant to reclaim. Clarissa Pinkola Estes once said, "The doors to the world of the wild self are few but precious." If you have a deep scar, that is a door. If you have an old story, that is a door. And you, beloved, have doors within you that others will never perceive. Your depth is ancient. Your empathy is ancestral. And your story, it was never just your own. Your life is a tapestry woven from lifetimes of soul remembering. You carry wisdom that no book could ever teach. You carry vision that defies explanation. And the reason you've always felt so deeply is because you were created to carry extraordinary light. So if you've ever felt ashamed of your tears, your softness, your sensitivity, release that shame now. Those tears were sacred prayers. That softness has always been your shield. That sensitivity is the channel through which truth moves through you. The very parts of yourself the world tried to erase are the exact parts that hold your power. You weren't born to be hardened. You weren't meant to be calloused. You're here to feel what others suppress, to see what others overlook, and to love with a depth that breaks logic wide open. The reason you've never fit in is simple: you were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out, not for attention, but for alignment. Not from ego, but from essence. You were designed to carry frequencies the world forgot. And now, the awakening you're experiencing, it isn't new. It's a return. It's the reawakening of your original sensitivity, the rebirth of your true self, the restoration of your divine perception. This is not a step backward into fragility. This is a sacred return to truth. So let it rise. Let the dreams come back. Let the intuitive nudges grow louder. Let the tears fall without apology. Let your boundaries be clear without guilt. Because this time, you are not shrinking. You are not performing. You are not hiding to be accepted. This time, you are honoring the very sensitivity you once tried to outgrow and finally recognizing it as your greatest strength. And if you've ever found yourself haunted by the quiet question, "Did I miss it?" You're not alone. That whisper often comes late at night, in the silence between distractions, when your soul grows louder than the noise. It visits while you scroll through other people's milestones, measuring your life by timelines you never chose. Or when you find yourself sitting in a room you once prayed to be in, wondering why fulfillment still feels out of reach. But hear this, because the world won't tell you, you haven't missed anything that was meant for your soul. You're not late. You're not off track. What you're living through right now is not the consequence of delay. It is the arrival of divine alignment. Because, chosen one, your path was never supposed to unfold like anyone else's. While others sprinted ahead, you were being called inward. While they built platforms and pursued progress, you were being quietly rebuilt from within. While the world applauded speed, hustle, and spectacle, your soul was moving through something slower, something sacred. Not because you were behind, but because what's forming in you is rare. It's precise, and it required stillness, undoing, and depth before it could ever be revealed. So let's reframe everything you once called wasted. The relationships that broke your heart, the jobs that left you empty, the places where you never quite belonged. They weren't detours. They were mirrors. Each one reflected what you were not, so you could remember what you are. Each one stripped away the noise so truth could finally breathe. And yes, it took longer. But what's rising now won't collapse. What's emerging now isn't performance, it's presence. It's power. It's purpose that's not rushed, not borrowed, but entirely your own. Carl Jung once said, "Your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart." Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakens. That's where you are now, not chasing fantasy, but awakening to the quiet truth that's lived inside you all along. The truth that your delays were never denial, that the pain wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Even when nothing seemed to move on the outside, everything was shifting beneath the surface. You were being aligned to a frequency that can't be forced. You were being recalibrated to the rhythm of your real life. This stage of your journey is not a crisis, it's a calling. A divine interruption. A sacred threshold that asks, "Are you ready to remember why you came?" And the ache you feel now, that hollow pull you can't explain, is the sound of your spirit whispering yes. That's why the old dreams don't stir you anymore. That's why the routines you used to follow now feel lifeless. That's why you long for silence more than stimulation. Because your soul knows. It knows it's time, not to go back. Not to start over, but to rise from everything you've survived and finally live from your knowing. You didn't miss the opportunity. You didn't ruin your chance. You didn't fall too far. In fact, what you're beginning to feel now, that quiet stir in your gut, the tears that come without warning, The magnetic pull toward what feels honest and real is the first sign that alignment has already begun. Life isn't waiting for the perfect version of you. It's meeting you exactly as you are. And it's calling forward the version of you that's been hidden beneath decades of survival, expectation, and silence. So breathe. Let the past be honored without allowing it to define you. Let the guilt melt in the truth that you were never behind. Let the shame dissolve in the realization that you were never too late. You were being formed slowly, gently, powerfully. And now, as everything begins to shift into place, you're not just waking up. You're coming into alignment, the kind that can't be faked, the kind that brings clarity, not confusion, the kind that whispers to your soul, "This is who you've always been. And this is why you're still here." There comes a season on the sacred path when everything goes silent, not the comforting kind, but the kind that unsettles. Friends drift. Your voice grows quieter. The world moves forward, but you feel paused in between what was and what hasn't yet arrived. You try to pray, to speak affirmations, to stir meaning from the silence, but nothing seems to respond. That place is the desert. And if you've ever walked through it, you already know no one chooses the desert. But the chosen always pass through it. You didn't fail. You didn't lose your spark. You were called into a cocoon, a place where everything you thought you needed was stripped away not to harm you, but to reveal you. The desert doesn't take your purpose. It removes what blocks it. It's not punishment. It's preparation. And though it feels empty, though it echoes with more questions than answers, it is holy ground. It's the place where transformation takes root in silence. You are not lost in the desert. You are being refined within it. At first, the silence feels cruel. You cry out to the universe, but all you hear is your own breath. You beg for signs, direction, clarity, and instead, you're met with stillness. But that stillness is not absence. It's a new language. And your soul is just beginning to learn how to hear it. Because it's there in the quiet shift of your heartbeat when something isn't right, in the tug in your chest before a decision, in the tears that fall when words are no longer enough. The stillness isn't empty, it's full. And it's speaking to you now. It's in the sudden wave of exhaustion when you're surrounded by the wrong energy. It's in the way you keep waking up at certain hours, in the dreams that linger long after you open your eyes. It's in the quiet pull towards solitude that you can't explain. The silence you're sitting in, it's not the absence of answers. It's the sacred space where new truths are born. This is the womb phase of awakening. Everything familiar has collapsed. The identity you used to wear no longer fits, but the new one hasn't yet taken form. You're in between names, in between roles, in between directions. And though it feels like a kind of death, it's the death of who you're not. You are being emptied so that something eternal can finally fill you. And that emptiness, it's not a void. It's a sanctuary. It's the birthplace of clarity. It's where illusion dies and purpose comes alive. Clarissa Pinkola SS once said, "To be strong does not mean to sprout muscles and flex. It means to meet life with full presence and a wild, brave soul." That is what the desert teaches you. It strips away the roles you performed to be liked, the masks you wore to survive, the borrowed dreams you clung to out of fear. It doesn't leave you broken. It brings you face to face with your soul, raw, unguarded, and ready. You don't leave the desert the way you entered it. You leave initiated. You leave awake. You leave whole. But here's the mystery. The desert looks different for everyone. For some, it's a year of grief. For others, it's a season of unanswered prayers, of closed doors and shattered plans. Maybe for you, it was a long silence. No one understood a time when your words dried up and your heart felt heavy with unspoken truth. However, it showed up. It came with divine intention. It pulled you into isolation not to punish you, but to allow you to hear the voice that had been buried under the noise. It wasn't rejection. It was redirection. You are not behind because your path was quiet. You are not broken because you lost what you once begged to keep. You are not forgotten because your journey took longer than theirs. What if the delay wasn't a detour, but divine strategy? What if what felt like stillness was sacred setup? You were hidden so you could be healed. You were paused so you could be realigned. You were isolated because you were never meant to walk an ordinary path. And now, something in you is stirring again. The cocoon is cracking open. The wind in the desert is beginning to shift. The silence is lifting. And you're starting to feel it not in loud declarations, but in soft knowings. Gentle confirmations. Quiet certainty. You don't need all the answers right now. You just need to trust that the path is opening because you've finally become someone who can walk it. So don't curse the desert, bless it. Don't rush through the silence, honor it. Let it finish its sacred work. And don't fear the in-between, it's where all real power is born. You didn't detour. You didn't delay. You descended. You went deep. And now you rise. Chosen one, let's talk about something you've never been able to explain. Why your presence makes others uncomfortable even when you say nothing. Why people project their wounds onto you, misunderstand your heart, or disappear without warning. Why you're blamed for things you didn't cause, or why being too much is a label you've carried since childhood. It's not because you're flawed. It's because you're marked. Not by status, not by title, but by energy. There is something ancient about you, something rare. And whether people understand it or not, they feel it. Your energy either awakens something in them or agitates something they're not ready to face. That's the part of being chosen no one talks about. The weight, the cost, the invisible heaviness you carry. You walk into rooms and shift the atmosphere. You ask questions that make people uncomfortable, not to offend, but because you see what others pretend not to. You reflect back what others are trying to hide from themselves. You carry truth in your bones. And even when you're silent, it speaks. That's why people sometimes turn cold for no reason. Why lovers distance themselves when you start opening your heart. Why friends fade just as your healing deepens. It's not rejection, it's reaction. They're not walking away from you, they're backing away from what you carry. Because what you carry isn't meant to be soft and safe. It's not meant to be comfortable. It's meant to be prophetic. You weren't born to blend in. You were born to shift the frequency of every space you enter. And that calling comes with a cost. It costs normalcy. It costs comfort. It costs relationships you once believed would last forever. But this isn't punishment. It's precision. The more sacred your assignment, the more pruning you will endure. Not to diminish you, but to shape you. Not to isolate you, but to insulate you. Because the wrong people cannot stay around someone whose soul is becoming untouchable. And that's what's happening to you now. You are becoming untouchable, not because you're flawless, but because your energy no longer entertains distortion. You're no longer available to what drains your spirit. The world may have tried to convince you that being chosen means being celebrated. But that's not always true. Sometimes being chosen means being misunderstood. It means walking alone while others gather. It means standing unseen in rooms where you once begged to be noticed. But here's the sacred truth. You're not unseen. You're hidden. And there's a difference. You're not invisible. You're protected. The cost of carrying light in a world conditioned to darkness is that not everyone will know how to receive it. But that doesn't make your light any less real. Think back to the moments you lowered your frequency just to be accepted. To the times you made yourself smaller just to be loved. You believed that softening your truth would make you easier to hold. But all it did was make you lose your grip on yourself. You don't need to shrink anymore to feel safe. You don't need to dim to deserve love. The love that's truly meant for you will only recognize you when you're standing in your full voltage, full truth, full power. Viktor Frankl once said, "What is to give light must endure burning." And you, chosen one, you've endured fires. Quiet fires, emotional fires, soul fires. The kind that leave you raw, unrecognizable even to yourself. And yet, here you are, still glowing, still rising, still carrying something the world can't touch. You've paid the price of becoming, and now you're holding the proof. So yes, your path may feel lonelier than most, but that loneliness, it's holy. It's not an emptiness. It's sacred space being cleared for alignment. You weren't made to walk with many. You were made to walk with clarity. You're not here to be liked by everyone. You're here to be true to yourself. And truth, it disturbs. It awakens. It divides. But it will never abandon you. So breathe. You are not broken for being different. You are brave for staying different in a world that rewards imitation. You are not cursed because people leave. You are protected so the right ones can find you. You are not difficult. You are divine. And those who cannot hold your light were never meant to walk beside you. So honor the cost. Bless the separations. Release the burden of being misunderstood. You are never here to be received by everyone. You are here to become who you were before the world taught you to fear your own fire. Keep walking. Keep glowing. What you've lost is nothing compared to what is awakening inside you now. Because deep within you, something ancient has always known. Long before the world gave you a name, before life taught you to harden. Before doubt ever entered your mind, there was a compass, a quiet pull, a knowing that made no sense and yet was always right. That knowing is still there. It never left. You just stopped listening. But now, chosen one, it's rising again. And it's calling you back. Back to the language of intuition. Back to the wisdom of your own body. Back to the invisible thread that's been guiding you toward truth, even when you didn't understand where it was leading. This world trained you to ignore that voice. It taught you to silence your instincts with logic, to wait for proof, to seek confirmation from others who seemed more certain. And in doing so, you forgot how to trust yourself. But the awakening you're moving through now is reactivating that compass in your chest. And that compass? It doesn't speak in words. It speaks in sensations. A tightness when something is wrong. A soft glow when something is right. A sudden chill. A sacred ache. A flicker of peace in the midst of chaos. These aren't coincidences. They're messages. Let me tell you what no one ever taught you. Your dreams are not just stories. They are sacred scripts written in a language your soul understands better than your mind. That moment you woke up crying without knowing why. That dream where someone you loved said something you never forgot. That vision that won't let you go. They weren't random. They were reminders, confirmations, memory bleeding through time. Even when you tried to dismiss them, they echoed louder, until finally you had no choice but to listen. Because you were made to feel energy for a reason. You were made to sense people's intentions before they speak, to read a room before you step inside it. And that sensitivity, it's not your weakness. It's your navigation system. You can sense it when someone isn't telling the truth, even if every word they say sounds right. That's not paranoia. That's perception. It is your God-given guidance system. It may not always seem logical, You may not be able to explain it, but it was never meant to be proven. It was meant to be followed. Because what leads you is not the mind's logic. It is spiritual alignment. The world may never understand why you suddenly feel compelled to leave certain places or why you shift direction, even when everything on paper looks perfect. But you understand. You feel it in your spirit. That quiet shift in your chest, that unseen turn of the inner compass. It speaks gently, but it speaks truth. And the more you honor it, the clearer it becomes. Not because you've figured out every step, but because you've stopped silencing what you already knew deep down. Albert Einstein once said, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant." Yet we have built a world that praises the servant and forgets the gift. Chosen one, it's time to reclaim the gift. Your mind is powerful, yes, but your soul remembers what the mind has forgotten. You were never created to be led by public opinion, social trends, or rigid timelines. You are designed to follow the frequency of truth, and that frequency speaks to your body long before it becomes words. So when your hands tremble before a conversation, listen. When your gut recoils at a perfect-looking opportunity, listen. When your body feels heavy around certain people, listen. And when your chest expands with peace as you dream of something new, follow it. That is your compass. That is your map. That is your sacred, yes. No one can lead you like your own soul, and no one can carry you into your calling, except the version of you who remembers how to hear again. So tune in, breathe deeper, notice the patterns, watch the signs. Let your dreams speak louder than your fears. Let your inner voice rise above the noise. You are not lost. You are reawakening. You are not broken. You are being cleared. The compass within you isn't malfunctioning. It's just been waiting for you to trust what you've always known. Trust it now. It knows the way home. Then, without warning, a moment arrives. And everything that once felt familiar begins to feel too small. The life you built, the relationships you cherished, the roles you played, they no longer fit not because they were failures, but because they were temporary. They were chapters, not the whole book. And then you feel it again. There is a quiet tug within you, a sacred ache that whispers, this season has ended. It doesn't arrive with noise or fanfare. It comes gently in stillness, a soft inner voice that doesn't shout but won't be ignored. Chosen one, that is the soul's way of saying, the gate is opening, but you may not see the gate. At first, it may feel like restlessness, like frustration, or a hollow emptiness that nothing can seem to fill. Yet beneath that discomfort, something holy is unfolding, not to destroy you, but to free you, to release you from the places you've outgrown, to unhook you from the people, the patterns, the roles that once made sense, but now only weigh you down. And yes, it hurts. It hurts to let go of things you once loved. It hurts to walk away from roles that once defined you. It hurts to release the dreams that used to set your soul on fire. But this is not the pain that crushes you. It is the pain that transforms you. You are not being rejected. You are being recalled. Recalled to your next divine assignment. Recalled to your deeper truth. Recalled to the version of you that always existed waiting. Just as a soul completes its contract in one realm before crossing into another, you are completing a sacred agreement with who you used to be. That chapter has been fulfilled. That identity has served its purpose. Are you feeling this shift? Let it sink in. Then keep going. And now the gate opens. Others won't understand. How could they? They didn't feel what you felt. They didn't wake up with the invisible weight pressing against their spirit, but you did. And that's how you know it's real. That's how you know it's time. You don't need to explain the silence. You don't need to justify the pause. You don't need permission to walk away. You only need to remember this. The gate never opens without reason. There's a quote by Søren Kierkegaard that says, "Life can only be understood backward, but it must be lived forward." And now, chosen one, you are being called forward. Not with certainty, not with a detailed map, but with trust. Trust that the space you're stepping into will hold you. Trust that what you're leaving behind was once beautiful, but is no longer alive in you. Trust that the ache in your bones is your soul stretching towards something eternal. You may feel in between for a while, like a traveler crossing dimensions, one foot still planted in the life you're releasing, and the other stepping into something nameless, unseen. That's okay. That's what sacred transition feels like. You are not lost. You're being led. You've spent years trying to be understood. Years shrinking yourself so others wouldn't feel threatened. Years softening your truth and translating your soul into languages that never honored it. You gave people access to sacred places within you, hoping they'd see you, feel you, value you. But many overlooked you. Some dismissed you. And a few even tried to extinguish the very light they once admired. Still, you stayed. You gave second chances. You held space. You waited for them to grow. But chosen one, that season is over. There is a moment in every sacred journey when the chosen outgrows the room. Not out of pride, but out of purpose. Not because they are better, but because they are different now. You have become the butterfly that no longer fits in the jar. The light that no longer belongs in the shadows. And while they laugh, ignored, or rejected you, something inside you kept rising. Quietly, powerfully, unstoppably. They didn't notice it then, but they will. Soon, those who misunderstood you will feel your absence in the very places your presence used to heal. They will reach for the old version of you only to find that version is no longer here. And you will not be bitter. You will not even be angry. You won't need to slam a door or make an announcement. You'll simply be gone. Not always in body, but in vibration, in spirit, in emotion, in energy. Because when transformation happens from the inside out, there's no going back just to comfort those who refuse to grow. This is where the shift becomes visible. Suddenly, the person they once ignored becomes the one they long for. The wisdom they dismissed becomes the very clarity they chase. The love they could not receive becomes the emptiness they cannot soothe. But this is not revenge, it is revelation. They won't awaken because you stayed to convince them. They'll awaken because you left and became who you truly are. Let me remind you of something true. Absence is a language. And when the chosen one disappears, it speaks volumes. Your silence will echo where your words used to try. Your elevation will teach what your explanations never could. Your radiance will expose the lies they once believed. Not because you tried to prove your worth, but because healing made you shine and purpose made you untouchable. There is a sacred moment in every metamorphosis where the old world starts searching for you. But by then, you've become too light to catch, too rooted to chase, too holy to dwell where distortion still lingers. And while they may call your name, all they will hear is the fading echo of who you once were, vanishing behind the veil of who you've become. There's a quote that says, "Don't shine so others can see you. Shine so that through you, others see what's possible." That's where you are now. You are no longer glowing for attention, you radiate because it is your nature. You are no longer available for places that dim your light or people who ask you to shrink. Your presence is reserved for alignment now, not approval. Your time is sacred. Your boundaries are holy. Your destiny is too true, too vivid, too alive to delay for those still pretending they don't see it. So do not look back. Do not reopen what God has already closed. Do not explain what they chose not to understand. You do not owe your old self to anyone who failed to honor it when it was alive and blooming. You don't owe your energy to those who only saw your worth once you became unreachable. And you certainly don't owe your healing to the ones who caused the wounds. What you owe is to yourself. You owe yourself freedom. You owe yourself peace. You owe yourself growth and expansion. And most of all, you owe your future the version of you that is finally whole. And that version of you, it's not waiting anymore. It does not need to be found. That version is already moving forward, already radiating, already gone. They will search for you, chosen one. But by the time they look, you will be light years beyond their reach, not out of pride, but because of your ascension. Not because you created distance, but because your frequency no longer matches theirs. And when they do turn around, they won't find the version of you they assumed would wait forever. All that will remain is silence. And in that silence, they will finally hear the truth. There is a chapter in your journey that no one saw, a part so sacred, so internal, even you couldn't fully explain it while living through it. It didn't come with a name. It wasn't marked by a single dramatic moment, but it was real. It was when the world quieted and you began to disappear, not physically, but spiritually. You were still here, but no longer fully present. Your smile faded. Your voice softened. The places that once brought comfort began to feel strange. The people you once loved began to feel distant, even though nothing about them had changed. You were slipping into sacred isolation not because you were lost, but because you were being reborn. This part is for those who feel invisible. You're not forgotten. You're in sacred hiding. Chosen one, before the rise comes the retreat. Before emergence comes disappearance. You weren't being rejected by the world, you were being ushered into a realm few are ever called to enter. This was the sacred isolation, the holy in-between, the divine pause. A space where your outer life stood still, yet your inner world erupted with revelation. Nothing around you seemed to move. The world fears solitude because it mistakes it for loneliness. But your solitude was never empty. It was sacred. It became your healing ground, your inner sanctuary. It was the temple where your soul gently unraveled itself from false timelines, expired roles, and outdated agreements. It was where you learned to breathe again without performing, where you learned to sit in your own presence without fleeing, where you finally felt what you were once too distracted to feel. This quiet exile was never the end of your story. It was the part where your power grew roots so deep that nothing could shake it again. Yes, it was difficult. There were nights you questioned your worth, days you wondered if heaven had forgotten you, moments you feared life would never move forward again. But what you didn't realize was that in the stillness, you were being recalibrated. Your nervous system was being restored. Your identity was being stripped of illusions until only what was true remained. And though no one saw that part of the journey, though it came without applause, it was the most essential chapter of all. Because when the world grew silent, your soul could finally speak. Yes, you lost things, opportunities, relationships, roles, moments that once seemed important, but what you gained cannot be measured. You gained clarity. You gained sovereignty. You gained the ability to discern truth without waiting for someone else to confirm it. And now quietly, like the soft light before dawn, the silence begins to lift. Not with noise, not with thunder, but with peace. With stillness. With the sacred hush that comes before a new song begins. And with it comes the knowing you are no longer the person who entered that wilderness. You're stronger now, gentler, wiser, more real. Clarissa Pinkola Estes once said, "The doors to the world of the wild self are few but precious." You found one of those doors, and you walked through it. Alone, frightened, silent, but willing. And now, you stand on the other side of something most never survive, not just physically, but spiritually. You've endured, the unraveling. You've made it through the sacred silence. You didn't need an audience, you needed a sanctuary. And your soul built it inside of you. So what comes next? Integration, emergence, a quiet rising that needs no announcement because it carries weight. And when you begin to re-enter the world, do not expect to fit where you once belonged. You've outgrown the former edges of your life. You no longer resonate with what once felt familiar. And that is not arrogance. That is ascension. It does not mean you are better than anyone else. It simply means you are different now. But within you, everything was changing. Different is divine when it's rooted in truth. Some will try to pull you back into who you used to be, not out of harm, but because that's the only version of you they remember. But do not shrink to make them comfortable. Let your silence speak for you now. Let your absence from certain spaces become your answer. You are no longer a participant in what drains you. You have become the guardian of your own energy. You owe no one an explanation for what your spirit required to survive. And yes, you may still feel moments of loneliness even as you rise. That's normal. The residue of solitude doesn't disappear overnight, but stay the course. The loneliness wasn't a punishment, it was protection. You were pulled away, not to be forgotten, but to be reformed. And now that your foundation is firm, what is meant for you can finally find you, not in your striving, but in your stillness. Not in your desperation, but in your wholeness. You've become the one who no longer chases peace because you've become peace. You no longer plead for love, you embody it. You don't reach for power, you walk in it. This transformation cannot be copied. It cannot be undone. So when you look back at the years that felt empty, honor them. Those were the years your spirit became indestructible. That sacred isolation was not a pause, it was the womb of your purpose. And now, as you return, you do not return to the world. You return to yourself. You don't arrive as the seeker anymore. You arrive as the one who knows. You arrive whole. You arrive wholly. You arrive quietly, but unmistakably. This is your return. So now, chosen one, take a breath. Let everything go still around you. Listen to what's stirring within. The trembling, the ache, the strange clarity rising in your chest. This is not random. This is not just another message. This is your confirmation. This is the answer to the prayers you whispered in the dark. The sleepless nights, the tears you never let anyone see. You were not lost. You were being rooted. You were being built by grace. And now it's time. Every ending, every silence, every shadowed moment, it was not punishment. It was preparation. Precise, sacred, soul-forging training. You were being stripped so your true self could rise. You were being emptied so something eternal could enter. That's why it hurt. That's why it was quiet. Because real transformation doesn't come with praise. It comes with fire. And you walked through it quietly, faithfully, alone. But not anymore. This is the awakening your soul was made for. This is the shift you've been sensing. The alignment. The remembering. The full body knowing that you are no longer available for the smallness that once defined you. You are not who you were a year ago. You're not even who you were yesterday. Something has changed, and you feel it. Your energy is elevated, your clarity undeniable, your soul unapologetic. You're not chasing potential anymore. You're standing in presence. So, hear this clearly. You are no longer waiting. You are walking. You are no longer wondering if you're chosen. You know you are. You are no longer asking the world to see your value. You embody it now. The road ahead may not be easy, but it will be sacred. And you won't walk it blindly. Because now you trust yourself. Now your intuition leads the way. Now, silence has become your teacher. You are not fragile anymore. You are free.